This is a development that marks a significant moment in the ongoing political and social crisis in Manipur. Kuki Organization for Human Rights Trust has sought an independent investigation based on the tapes that indicate Chief Minister Biren Singh's direct role in the violence that erupted in May 2023 in Manipur that killed more than 200 people. The Supreme Court has now taken suo motu cognizance of this matter, and it has directed the CFSL to submit a report before it on the authenticity of the audio tapes before 24th of March this year, which is set as the next date of hearing. I am now joined by Thongkolal Khaukib, assistant professor from Jawaharlal Nehru University, who's with us live right now. We are going live on Twitter and YouTube. Dr. Hawkins, thank you so much for joining us and welcome.
It's a pleasure to be here once again.
I want to then begin by asking you this. The issue that is in front of us, tapes which has surfaced again publicly last week, has caused tremendous amount of unrest in the state again, with political and social leaders demanding clarity on the authenticity of the recordings. First of all, these tapes have been in the narrative for long now. And because of these tapes, this entire impression that the chief minister has a role to play is now picking up momentum, is now being spread far and wide that here is proof. But how authentic is this proof? How can we believe that there is a direct involvement? What is the information that you can share about this part?
Afrida, in law or in other social science, disciplines, we have this term called circumstantial evidence, right?
Hmm.
So, as
Hmm.
per this, concept, we have different. When the chief minister audio tape came up online, and that were reported even after few months by the Wire and other media. There were such an uproar in Manipur, especially in Imphal Valley, that uh, the audio tapes were not authentic, right?
Yeah.
But however, there were many circumstantial evidence. For instance, you may be aware about the chief of Arambai Tengol, which is a
Mhm.
militia uh, very active during the Manipur conflict. The chief of Arambai Tengol, Korongamba Kuman, in his social media post stated that uh, the person or the head of this person who tries to expose the chief minister of Manipur, he was wondering, and he was threatening, intimidating such people who expose the chief minister. Likewise, the current Rajya Sabha MP from Manipur, he was similarly tweeting that, and you can file a lot of those evidence which may be deleted by now, but uh, plenty available, retweeted or reshared by many people. So there is a lot of circumstantial evidence that the audio tape is unauthentic without even
But
going
why would
for.
the CM do it? He is directly responsible for maintaining law and order. And now, of course, the chief minister has dismissed, he's denied the authenticity. He claims it's part of a political conspiracy. After all, it is under his watch that the state is in a turmoil. Why would he try to, uh, instigate more trouble in a state that he is responsible for?
This audio clip is from a very private chat between very few people who are very close to him. So
Okay.
but there are other people perhaps who are thinking differently, who wanted maybe uh, they want to have some political a change in Manipur. They want to uh, uh, you know uh, take up the position of the chief minister, who may be like
Hmm. Hmm.
politically
You are saying
internally
that it's
rivalry
internal
among.
rivals of. Okay, okay. Mr. Biren Singh has internal rivals who has leaked this. in order to ensure that he's removed from his position, and there are other aspirants for that post. Is that what you're saying?
Definitely, there must be, but
Hmm.
I'm just assuming. But this is not a concrete,
Hmm.
suggestion. But definitely in Manipur, there are other groups who are vying for the chief minister post, who are trying to lead a group within the BJP. This is very evident, very much very clear to people who are close to Manipur politics.
Let's make it very clear to our audience, and I think it's an open secret in that sense that Mr. Viren Singh is a Meghti, and the allegation really is that he has been shielding, favoring, being partisan towards the Meghti community. Is that the sense of mistrust that the Kuki community has? Because let's face it, after all, this allegation has been made by a Kuki organization, and one can always argue that, well, the cookies will say that since the chief minister comes from a certain community and they are the aggrieved party, they are also a stakeholder. So, what is the big surprise in it? So, why should there be an investigation? There can be any kind of allegation coming from the cookie community on this.
You know, the conflict may be ethnic between the Cookies and the Métis, but let's not assume that the Métis as an ethnic group is a homogeneous entity. In terms of
Okay.
religion, there is a plurality. There are Christians, there are Sanamahi or indigenous faith, and even we have Pangals or so-called Muslims in among the community. So
Yeah.
there are different views regarding the politics in Manipur, how it should be, how the territorial integrity should be maintained, or what should be the role of the majority community. So there's no single, view or approach about Manipur. So there are diverse people. There are people who are more inclusive, uh, or people who are more liberal in thinking and who have been active in the past decades. But however, as the conflict emerges, there were radical elements like we have said Rambai Tengol and many other groups, even insurgent groups who were, having this principle positioned towards their movement, have become partisan and have been participating in the conflict. So this is the situation, and those people who are having different opinions about the current conflict are silenced. But definitely, there are
Okay.
people who wanted to have a Manipur back, right? A Manipur which has different communities together, settling in peace and harmony. So perhaps there are same elements or people who want the previous Manipur back to in future. So perhaps those people might have exposed or tried to expose the chief minister. That's uh, that's my point of view regarding the people who are trying to give away or trying to record the audio tape. On the other hand, definitely 20 months or even 21 months of Manipur conflict now
Hmm.
has passed, and being a minority community, that the Kukimuk community wanted justice, and for this justice, uh, they want certain forms, maybe
Yeah.
political or anything else, economic and others, or administratively. So they want to hit
There are insecurities
the
in both groups, Dr.
radical.
Haukip. Let's be fair. And of course, I do understand that you're speaking for your community more at this point of time as you represent the Kuki community. And fair enough, you are saying that there are concerns and there have been concerns, and these concerns or these sort of tensions have existed for decades. It's not as if they have only happened now since May 2023. There were underlying tensions, and I would go to the extent of saying that there were simmering tensions. It just got triggered. It was one of those things that got triggered in May 2023 with those protests that happened over the SC/ST quota to the Métis community. That was the trigger. But there's always that simmering tension where both communities are insecure. The Kukis, the hill tribes, because they feel threatened, their land that they feel are going to be intruded by the Métis. The Métis also feel that somewhere they have got a raw deal because there is enough number of migrants, and where the balance is, like, I guess 57-43, maybe 57%, the hill tribes 43, that balance, that demography is changing. So the Métis are also threatened. All of this is happening because the two communities have their own insecurities. But now to implicate the chief minister, the head of the government, and say that he is the man that has, जिसे कहते हैं आग लगाने का काम, it's a very big allegation, and I have full faith that the Supreme Court will take it forward. But what is it that you feel as a neutral observer, let's say for a moment, can resolve this crisis and can sort of, placate the doubts, the fears, the animosity between the two communities?
Initially, we have some hope that the law and order would come back, but
Hmm.
eventually it emerged that uh, the state police and others are deeply involved. Despite in the last few weeks, the Manipur police has been attempting to be neutral, partial, and trying to solve all these elements. There are uh, against the law and order. Uh, Let me tell you one thing that uh, how we define peace. Peace is not the absence of conflict, right? Conflict is always there. As you told,
Hmm. Hmm.
it's simmering everywhere, whether it's in Meghalaya, Assam, or Manipur. Peace is not the absence of conflicts, but it's the absence of violence. For the past 15 years, there were conflict between the Meiteis and the Nagas also because of
Hmm.
the
Hmm.
extension of ceasefire beyond Nagaland. And the Congress government during those times handled it through a law order mechanism. But however, in the case of the scheduled tribe demand by Meiteis and the counter protest by the tribal groups, there is a kind of a selective target to one particular community. Let me tell you one experience. On 3rd May 2023, as I was observing from this room in my office in New Delhi regarding the conflict, monitoring through social media and others, uh, there is a live stream in Facebook by
Hmm.
one participant in Kangwai, which is a border between Churachandpur and Bishnupur district in Imphal Valley. And
Hmm.
while I was watching that live stream in the conflict in Kangwai, I came to see one post regarding that
Yeah.
video, which says that uh, you don't call those people as tribals, call them as cookie, which means that there is a kind of sensationalization or information spread to the valley community that we are not going to fight against the whole tribal community of Manipur. Is directed against one particular community, singling out one community. So it has been, selective targeting, and during the whole course of this conflict, you would find that the whole blame, whether in terms of the problem of poppy cultivation, drug trafficking, while data shows that it is rampant all over the state, the state machinery and other dominant groups would blame only one particular
Yeah, yeah.
community.
I get
So,
that. You're saying that
uh,
the chief minister's moves, the action that he has taken, are mostly targeted to the Kuki community, whether it is with the poppy cultivation and the sort of cleanup that he claims he's trying to do with the drug networks. He claims that it was part of his effort to crack down on the drug networks, and that, according to, it depends on which side of the divide you're looking at things. You are saying that it selectively targeted the cookies alone, to the exclusion of the others. I take your point, but the similar narratives you hear from the other sides as well. You are today saying that there were Métis groups who were acting as insurgents. They were militant groups. They were supported by the state government. The Métis say the same, that there are Kuki militant groups and they enjoy the support of the central forces. They enjoy the support of Assam rifles. And this is such a sorry state of affairs that you have even within the state machinery, the Assam Rifles on one side and the Manipur police on the other side. Dr. Hawkins, do you think that's
Let
the
me
reason there is no resolution here? Because even the state machinery is divided along community lines.
That's true. But let me
Hmm.
clarify the difference between how the central government forces and the state forces. Of course, to be frank, right? Even the police, the Manipur police who are in Kuki-dominated areas, they may be
Yeah,
siding with the communities who are there, because all the
yeah,
police officers by that time are from one community.
yeah.
Similarly, from Imphal Valley, but let me clarify one thing, that the central forces like Assam Rifles, and other forces have been very neutral despite the blame from the other group, because
Mhm.
if you look into this conflict, many of the attackings, right? The attacks happen from the dominant groups, and what the other group uh, did was to defend themselves, and in defending themselves, they have to use all their mechanisms, because they are minority. They lack resources. They have nobody, unlike the dominant groups, which has the state government, state forces, and other entities. So
Yeah, I
this
do
is
understand that even
why
the representation in the
the issue.
assembly is smaller. The representation, even in the Manipur assembly, is largely Meitei dominated. I do understand it's a government run by a Meitei chief minister. You are saying that here is a case of one community being selectively targeted, and it is the minority community that is being targeted. I want to take your reaction, your comments on what the Solicitor General S.G. Mehta says, that truth labs run by private individuals and petitioner has ideological inclination. This is about the audio tape. He also says that these civil society organizations are putting it out on our screens. These civil society organizations are wanting to keep the pot boiling. That appears to be the intention. Let it not happen. He says that a court appointed committee of former judges has filed this report, that there are vested interests. It suits them to keep the pot boiling, and therefore they keep coming up with these audio tapes and they conveniently leak it in the social media. Your thoughts and your reaction to someone like SG Mehta who has said this in court?
Before I respond to these comments, let me go back to the representation that you mentioned in Manipur.
Hmm. Hmm.
As per the decisions of the parliament, assembly constituencies have to be delimited, a decade ago,
Yeah.
right? As per that direction, Assam last year has a delimiting exercise in the whole state.
Yes,
However,
it
in
did.
certain states like Arunachal Pradesh, Nagaland, and Manipur, uh, for the last 2 decades, there is no delimitation exercise. As per the population, you know, in the census, the last census in 2011, there has to
Hmm.
be a delimitation based on that. And if, as per the data, there should be at least five assembly constituencies that should go to the hill areas. Of course, there
Hmm.
is a claim that certain subdivisions have abnormal population growth. If there is a claim that there are certain abnormal population growth, especially in the northern part of Manipur, let those areas be ignored. But what about the rest of those areas? So there has been a denial of delimitation in Manipur, especially which would be advantage to the hill communities. So for
Hmm.
long, this has been fought by many activists in the hills,
Hmm.
and
Hmm.
however, this has been denied, and till today, there's no
Hmm.
delimitation exercise. So coming to the Solicitor General comment that
Hmm.
it has to be done by a neutral or entity. Uh, Let me tell you that in that heading itself, he said that Central Forensic Science Laboratory was, the lab he was recommending. But
Yeah.
if you look into this CFSL, it is a lab which functions under the Ministry of Home Affairs, and how can we trust a lab, which is itself, to be frank, run by the same, can be influenced by the same party which is running the central government as well as the state government.
Now this is complicated, Dr. Hakib. So then you don't trust anyone. You don't trust your CM. You don't trust the Supreme Court direction asking CFSL to ascertain the authenticity. Who will ascertain the authenticity?
No, no, no. I'm not
Because there
talking about
needs to be
this.
a mix at all
This
levels.
information is wrong. I think if you read the Wire report on regarding this case today, they have written it very clearly that the Solicitor General Tushar Mehta was asking,
Hmm.
the Supreme Court for a kind of neutral or impartial test, which has to be done by the Central Forensic Science Laboratory. I'm
No,
just
no.
saying that
Prashant
this
Bhushan
is
says that no. Prashant Bhushan had made that submission saying that the petitioner had sent the tapes to Truth Labs, which has far more expertise and credibility than CFSL. So Prashant Bhushan was making his submissions from the side of the cookie community, I understand. To which SG Mehta says Truth Labs was run by private individual and the petitioner has ideological inclinations and these are civil society groups who want to keep the pot boiling. So this was actually, I should have said that before, in context to what Prashant Bhushan submitted. I think we lost the connection with Dr. Thongkolal Haukip. I'm not sure if he can hear me anymore. Okay, we'll try and get him back. Let me then, for the sake of our viewers, just recap this entire issue. This is a development that, of course, marks a significant moment in the ongoing political and social crisis in Manipur because these are audio tapes that claim that the chief minister all along has been partisan. He has favored one community over the other. Not just that, he has deliberately instigated violence against the Kuki community. Now, these tapes are being sent to CFSL to ascertain the authenticity of the tapes. Whether it is indeed the voice of the chief minister or not has not been ascertained as of now. The tapes have implicated the Manipur chief minister being directly involved in instigating violence. So, political and social leaders across the state are now demanding that the tapes must be ascertained. Ethnic violence, of course, in Manipur has led to widespread unrest and the entire state is now divided along the lines of majority and minority communities, Métis being the majority, and the hill tribes, primarily the Kukis and the Nagas, are the minority communities. And the state has been in this turmoil for over 1 year, 9 months now. The organization that has made this appeal is Kuki Organization for Human Rights that has sought an independent investigation. I will take quick closing comments from Dr. Haukip, who's back with us. Yes, carry on. We lost you in between. I was giving you a clarity about how Prashant Bhushan had initially said that Truth Labs has already ascertained the authenticity of the tapes, to which the Solicitor General said that Truth Labs is run by private individuals. Let it go to a central government forensic lab.
Despite all these suspicions, I definitely would also suggest that the results by a private lab has to be verified perhaps by the forensic lab run by the Ministry of Home Affairs. Yet,
Yes.
as I mentioned earlier, there are circumstantial evidences already at the time when this audio tape was first, published
Hmm.
in social media, and those even the kind of comments from people who are very close to the Manipur chief minister are, even within enough that the audio tape is authentic. So that's
Okay.
the kind of
Hmm.
legal and other judgment that would be helping and
Let's then wait
you know,
for 24th of March. Let's then see what the CFSL report says, and we'll have you back to give us your comments. Dr. Thongkolal Haukip, thank you so much for joining us here on Free Press Journal today.
it's a pleasure to be here once
Thank you. Well, we'll leave it at that. This is an ongoing matter. It is still under the consideration of the Supreme Court whether the tapes are authentic or not. That has to be tested, has to be ascertained. And of course, we need answers to all of this. Of course, a lot of questions are now floating around on the role of the chief minister. This is his second term as the BJP chief minister in Manipur, and violence has continued even though it's not always reported. There are sporadic incidents of violence, and both communities have suffered in this conflict. We leave it at that for now. Do leave us your comments on what you think should be done and how this can be resolved. Thanks for watching.